Life has a beautiful habit of surprising us, but not always in the way we expect. Sometimes it surprises us with joy, and sometimes with challenges that test our patience, faith, and inner strength. Happiness is often misunderstood as something that arrives once everything in life is perfectly arranged. We tell ourselves that we will be happy when the job is secure, when relationships improve, when health issues disappear, or when life becomes predictable. But life rarely follows our timetable. If happiness is postponed until conditions are ideal, then happiness becomes a distant dream rather than a lived experience. This is why happiness must be understood as a choice, not a condition. Conditions are external and temporary, but choice is internal and always available. Every day, life presents us with situations that are beyond our control. Traffic jams, misunderstandings, failures, delays, and unexpected losses are part of being human. What truly defines our emotional state is not the situation itself, but the meaning we assign to it. Two people can face the same problem. One grows bitter, the other grows wiser. The difference is not luck, but mindset. When happiness is treated as a choice, we stop giving others the remote control of our emotions. Choosing happiness does not mean ignoring pain or pretending everything is fine. It means acknowledging difficulties without allowing them to define our entire existence. Pain is unavoidable, but suffering becomes optional when we learn to respond with awareness. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin to ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" This subtle shift turns obstacles into opportunities for inner growth. Many people wait for appreciation, validation, or approval before allowing themselves to feel content. But happiness that depends on external validation is fragile. When appreciation is absent, disappointment takes its place. When happiness becomes a choice, it is rooted in self-respect, gratitude, and acceptance. We begin to value what we have instead of constantly measuring life by what is missing. The mind has a natural tendency to focus on problems more than blessings. Choosing happiness requires conscious effort, especially on difficult days. It involves training the mind to pause before reacting, to breathe before responding, and to reflect before judging. Small practices like gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion slowly rewire the way we experience life. Over time, happiness stops being an emotional reaction and becomes a spiritual discipline cultivated daily through awareness and intention. Life's challenges often arrive unannounced and unwelcome. When difficulties appear, our first reaction is usually resistance. We ask why life is being unfair, why problems keep repeating, and why happiness seems delayed. In these moments, challenges feel like punishments meant to break our spirit. But when viewed through a deeper lens, challenges are not punishments. They are teachers shaping our character. Life does not test us to see us fail. It tests us to help us evolve. Every challenge carries a lesson tailored to our growth. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, inner strength develops through struggle. If life removed all difficulties, it would also remove the opportunities for patience, courage, humility, and faith to grow. Comfort may make life pleasant, but it is challenge that makes life meaningful. The moments that stretched us the most are often the moments that shaped us the deepest. When we label a situation as a problem, the mind immediately searches for escape. But when we see it as a lesson, the mind becomes curious. Instead of asking, "How do I avoid this?" we begin to ask, "What am I meant to learn here?" This shift changes our relationship with hardship. Even setbacks begin to feel purposeful, and even delays start to carry wisdom. What once felt like an obstacle becomes a stepping stone toward emotional maturity. Challenges also reveal truths about ourselves that comfort never could. They expose our fears, our attachments, our expectations, and our hidden strengths. In moments of difficulty, we discover how patient we truly are, how compassionate we can be, and how much faith we actually hold. Life's lessons are rarely gentle, but they are always precise. They arrive exactly where growth is needed most. Many people try to rush through difficult phases, hoping for quick relief. But lessons cannot be skipped. What is avoided today often returns tomorrow in a different form. When we pause, reflect, and accept the teaching within the challenge, life moves us forward naturally. Acceptance does not mean liking the situation. It means trusting that the situation is working for us, not against us. Over time, the same challenge that once caused pain becomes a source of wisdom and inner stability. The world around us is constantly changing, and with that change comes noise, pressure, and uncertainty. External situations rarely remain calm for long. Deadlines, opinions, expectations, losses, and unexpected events create a sense of chaos that feels overwhelming. Many people spend their lives trying to control this outer world, believing that peace will arrive once everything settles down. But true peace does not depend on silence outside, it depends on stability within. Inner peace is stronger than external chaos. When the mind is restless, even small problems feel unbearable. But when the mind is grounded, even large storms lose their power. External chaos can disturb the body and the environment, but it only controls us when we allow it to enter our inner space. Inner peace is not the absence of challenges. It is the ability to remain centered while challenges exist. It is the quiet strength that allows us to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. Most conflicts in life are intensified not by the situation itself, but by our internal reactions to it. Two people can face the same criticism, the same loss, or the same uncertainty, yet respond completely differently. One becomes anxious and angry, the other remains calm and reflective. The difference lies in inner balance. When our peace depends on external approval or favorable circumstances, it becomes fragile. But when peace is cultivated within, it becomes unshakable. Inner peace is built through awareness and self-discipline. Simple practices like mindful breathing, silence, prayer, reflection, or conscious pauses help create distance between stimulus and response. In that space, wisdom emerges. Instead of being pulled into every emotional wave, we learn to observe our thoughts without being controlled by them. This ability to witness rather than react gives us freedom. External chaos will always exist in some form. There will always be uncertainty, misunderstandings, and change. Waiting for the world to become calm before choosing peace is an endless wait. When inner peace becomes a priority, chaos loses its authority. Situations may still be intense, but they no longer dictate our emotional state. Calm becomes our default, clarity becomes our strength, and resilience becomes our natural response to life's unpredictability. Gratitude is often seen as a reaction to good times, something we feel when life is generous and everything seems to go our way. But real gratitude is not dependent on comfort. It is the lens through which we choose to see life. Problems do not disappear when we practice gratitude, but the weight they carry in our mind begins to change. Gratitude shifts our attention from what is lacking to what is still present. And this shift has the power to transform our experience of difficulties. The human mind has a natural tendency to focus on threats, losses, and imperfection. This survival-based mindset may protect us physically, but emotionally, it keeps us trapped in dissatisfaction. When problems arise, the mind starts counting everything that has gone wrong. Gratitude interrupts this pattern. It reminds us that even in challenging moments, something is still working, something is still supporting us, and something is still worthy of appreciation. Gratitude does not deny pain or minimize struggle. It simply refuses to let pain define the whole story. A difficult phase may test our patience, but gratitude helps us recognize the strength we are developing through it. A setback may slow our progress, but gratitude allows us to see the lesson hidden within the delay. When we begin to appreciate the process, not just the outcome, problems lose their power to create bitterness. Practicing gratitude during hardships builds emotional resilience. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, we begin to feel like an active participant in our growth. Even small acknowledgements, like being thankful for support, health, breath, or awareness, create a sense of grounding. This grounding helps the mind stay balanced when situations feel uncertain or overwhelming. Over time, gratitude rewires how we interpret life events. The same problem that once caused frustration begins to feel manageable. The same delay that once triggered anxiety begins to feel purposeful. Gratitude does not change the external situation immediately, but it changes the internal experience completely. When gratitude becomes a habit, problems become lighter, perspectives become clearer, and the mind becomes more peaceful even in the middle of life's challenges. Much of our stress in life comes from the desire to control outcomes, people, and situations. We plan, predict, and expect life to unfold in a certain way, and when it doesn't, frustration takes over. Control gives us an illusion of safety, but it also becomes a source of emotional exhaustion. Letting go of control does not mean giving up on effort or responsibility. It means releasing the attachment to how things must happen. In this release, emotional freedom begins. When we cling tightly to expectations, every deviation feels like a personal failure. We expect people to behave according to our understanding, circumstances to align with our plans, and efforts to guarantee results. But life has its own rhythm. The more we resist this reality, the more tension we create within ourselves. Letting go of control allows us to work sincerely while accepting uncertainty as a natural part of existence. Emotional freedom arises when we separate effort from outcome. We learn to give our best without being consumed by the results. This mindset reduces anxiety and builds trust in the process of life. When outcomes are favorable, we feel grateful. When they are not, we remain steady instead of shattered. This balance comes from understanding that not everything is within our hands, and that is not a weakness but a truth. Control often stems from fear, the fear of loss, rejection, or failure. By holding on tightly, we hope to prevent pain. But ironically, this attachment increases suffering. Letting go is not about indifference, it is about acceptance. It allows us to respond to life with flexibility rather than rigidity. We become less reactive, less defensive, and more compassionate toward ourselves and others. As control loosens, inner space opens. We stop overthinking every detail and start trusting our intentions. Peace grows when we stop fighting reality and start flowing with it. Emotional freedom does not come from mastering life, but from understanding it. When we release the need to control everything, we discover a calm confidence that allows us to move through uncertainty with grace and inner stability. Comfort zones feel safe because they protect us from uncertainty, judgment, and failure. Inside them, routines are familiar and expectations are low. Life moves smoothly, but quietly, without much depth. Over time, comfort can become a silent trap. We may not feel unhappy, but we also don't feel alive. A meaningful life doesn't begin where everything is easy. It begins where courage is required. Stepping outside comfort zones forces us to confront fear, and fear is often the doorway to growth. When we try something new, we risk making mistakes, being misunderstood, or failing publicly. These experiences feel uncomfortable, but they also sharpen our awareness and build resilience. Each challenge teaches us something about our values, limits, and inner strength. Meaning grows when we realize we are capable of more than what comfort allowed us to believe. Comfort zones often keep us busy but not fulfilled. We repeat patterns because they are known, not because they are aligned with our purpose. Growth disrupts these patterns. It asks us to question our choices, rethink our priorities, and sometimes let go of old identities. This process can feel unsettling, but it brings clarity. When we step into discomfort with intention, life starts to feel directed rather than accidental. A meaningful life is rarely convenient. It demands effort, patience, and persistence. When we pursue what matters, obstacles are inevitable. But struggle connected to purpose feels different from struggle caused by avoidance. The first strengthens us, the second drains us. Meaning transforms effort into devotion and difficulty into direction. Even when progress is slow, the heart feels engaged. Moving beyond comfort also deepens our empathy. When we face uncertainty ourselves, we become more understanding of others' struggles. We listen better, judge less, and connect more authentically. Life becomes less about protecting ourselves and more about participating fully. Each brave step expands not just our world, but our compassion. Meaning is not found in waiting for the perfect moment. It is created through action taken despite fear. The more we choose growth over comfort, the more confidence replaces doubt. Life begins to feel purposeful, dynamic, and honest. Discomfort becomes a signal of alignment, showing us that we are moving towards something real, something that matters, something that stretches us into our truest potential. So, as we move forward in life, let us remember that happiness is not something we wait for at the end of our struggles. It is something we choose in the middle of them.